Guys, welcome back to the Kosi Arsenal channel. Welcome back to brand new video. Arsenal 5, Manchester City 1. Still this morning, I can't believe that happened. Arsenal completely annihilated, demolished, killed off Manchester City in ways that we have not seen. I mean, Arsenal beating Manchester City in this season where everyone is complaining about our attack, everyone is complaining about our squad, and then you go and do that against Manchester City. That was beautiful. I mean, doing that without our key players, Saka is not there, Ben White is not there, and a couple of other players are not 100% in form. And then you go and put 5 past City. That was beautiful. That was enjoyable. And for me, ever since that stay humble moment from Haaland, I was really waiting for such a way to pay back Man City. And we've done it in the perfect way. Hit them 5. They cannot even have any excuses. Not the referee, not VAR, no nothing. It was Arsenal picking apart Manchester City for 90 minutes. And you loved to see it. We're going to be diving into the performance, what the result means, potentially, could this be the turning point for Arsenal's season? I mean, every single season, if you're as a club, you need that one moment, you need that one game probably that can spark life back into the team. Arsenal been really down, but that game for me should be the beginning of a good run. You could even go now 10 games, with fantastic performances. Because when you beat Manchester City, what it actually does to your confidence is unbelievable. I mean, beating City literally means that you've beaten the rest of, the best of the rest. And again, this is not the City that, of course, we're used to. This is not how good they are. But they've got so many very good players. They brought in a couple of new signings, and they still have Pep Guardiola. So Arsenal, yesterday, entirely demolished Manchester City. 5-1. Let's start off by looking at the man of the match. Because what a performance, by the way, from everyone in the team. I saw a couple of people picking out names, and I'll pick out names too. But I think I'm going to go with Thomas Partey. Best performance from this guy in a while. And I think with Partey, it's not about him not being able or willing to provide the quality. I think it's about the manager playing him out of position at right back. But him playing in midfield alongside Rice and Odegaard, we've already said, play them together. That is your midfield trio. That is your best midfield trio. And yesterday we saw it. Partey literally intercepting balls and, looking out for passes to start counterattacks and then scoring that banger. It was a Thomas Partey show. And again, it highlights why Rodri is such an important player for Manchester City. His accuracy in passing, the way he wins the ball back, the safety he provides to the attacking options and all that, and the confidence and trust they have in him is magnificent. Because they did have him. Arsenal literally had what Manchester City didn't have in Thomas Partey. Physical, reliable, clinical, very, very technical as a player. They just couldn't deal with him. And I saw John Stones a couple of times give the ball away. And I think 2 of those times led to goals. So, Thomas Partey, 100% man of the match. There are a couple of other performances that we'll talk about. Lewis Skelly, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Martin Odegaard, a captain's performance, standing ovation. I think that is what we want to see from Martin. We want to see him pressing. We want to see him being clinical and taking chances. We want to see him creating chances. I think Gabriel Martinelli was right in that game. I thought Kai Havertz, yes, he did miss a big chance before it was 1-1, but the goal he scored, that's a beautiful goal. So collectively, the performance was definitely up there. But Thomas Partey, you've got to love this guy. You've got to love that performance. And if Arsenal are going to lose him this summer because Martin Zubimendi is coming, I'm thinking, can we give him a year? Can we give him maybe 2 more years and see what could happen? Because he's such a very, very important player for us. But let's get into the performance and the game, and then what that means for us, before we get into individual performances. So I think it was a game of high tactical setups. I think Arsenal, unlike in different encounters, in the previous encounters where we have played Manchester City, This time we came to sit back, relax, and let City have possession for some time, but we were willing to press up high, to press high up the pitch. And if you look at the three big scoring opportunities that first happened in that game within the first 20 minutes of the game, they were a result of Arsenal pressing high up the pitch. Martin Odegaard's goal, pressing high up the pitch. Gabriel Martinelli's offside goal, pressing high up the pitch. Kai Havertz's empty net, miss. Arsenal pressing high up the pitch. Now, this is not the Arsenal that we are used to when it comes to Man City. We're used to Arsenal letting City carry the ball until halfway the pitch. We sit in shape. We tend to depend on luck. If we can get the ball, put it in wide areas, and run off. It's not a bad strategy. It did give us a couple of goals. I think the Kai Havertz goal, that's definitely what it was all about. But this was a game where Mikel Arteta said, listen, they have beaten me before when I sat back in shape. Now I am going to do both of them. I'm going to sit back, respect them. I'm not going to allow them pick me apart, but I am also going to take the game to them in some moments in the game. And that's what happened. We took the game to Man City and magic happened. And I remember so many people saying City are not used to clubs being rebellious against them. City are not used to clubs being good towards them. City are used to clubs sitting in shape and just waiting and waiting and waiting, right? So I think this is what I've been saying all season. This is the Arsenal performance that we've got to show, to put up every single week. This is our identity. We press high up the pitch. And yesterday what we saw was a Manchester City that was comfortable playing out from the back, right? Thinking, well, Arsenal are going to do what they usually do. Sit back and let us, evolve with the ball. Now, Arsenal didn't do that. And City were, I would say, confused. They're like, okay, this is different. Arsenal are pressing high up the pitch and they're really, really aggressive. What do we do? Before they could realize what they did or what they could do, it was 5-1 and it was entirely shameful. Now, I've seen a couple of analyses, ESPN, Sky Sports as well, talking about the mistakes that Manchester City players were making. And it's true. The mistakes that they were making cost them the game. But I've already said this, right? It's either the other team is too good on the evening or on the day that they're forcing you into continuous mistakes, right? Or they're so good that they're capitalizing and they're pouncing and capitalizing on your mistakes. And that's why I don't want anyone to take this result away from the brilliance of Arsenal to, Manchester City made a lot of mistakes. Stones, full of mistakes. This one and that one are full of mistakes. Yes, there were mistakes from Manchester City. But you've got to look at the bigger picture. Were those mistakes coming from Arsenal pressing high up the pitch? Yes, they were. Were those mistakes coming from Arsenal being active, aggressive, and picking up every passing option, right? So that the player with the ball is left with no passing options? Yes, they were. Were those mistakes capitalized on and Arsenal scored goals out of those mistakes which put us in a good position? Yes, we did. So this performance was as good as Arsenal could get, but also as bad as Manchester City could get. Yes, had a very, very terrible day in office. Sorry about that. There's nothing we could do. But we also had a very good day in office, and we've got to recognize that. And I want people to recognize that Arsenal had a very good day on the evening. So what this performance really means is a lot. Like I say, Arsenal have been struggling. Injuries, form, confidence, the manager himself getting things wrong and this and that, right? And that's why we've been desperate for an addition in January. By the way, Arsenal in talks with Matthias Tel, with Bayern for Matthias Tel. Looks like, hours are running, but Arsenal are there and Manchester United are there as well. So listen. This performance means, and that result, that confidence-wise, Arsenal have just got a shot, a booster shot. If you beat Manchester City by 5-1, tell me, why wouldn't you believe in yourself when you take on Aston Villa? Why wouldn't you believe in yourself when you take on Newcastle? Why would you not believe in yourself when you take on any other club? I think some of the games that we have failed to win, Aston Villa, you lead 2-0, it draws, the game ends 2-2. It's about confidence. It's about, trusting each other. And this game had just told the Arsenal players, listen, if we could overcome the Manchester City mountain, if we could beat them by a sizable chunk, this is our year, and we've got to go and correct whatever has gone wrong. But also, apart from the confidence, I think it keeps the title race running, obviously. But if you're Liverpool, there is a lot of pressure, because Liverpool ideally would think the three places where Arsenal will drop points would be at Newcastle, would be at Liverpool themselves, and Manchester City. We have literally outdone Man City. We have annihilated Manchester City. So for Liverpool, that puts them more on pressure. And for Arsenal, we have 7 points to catch up to, maybe 9 points to catch up to. So that means, listen, it's going to take time, right? It's going to take time, but we are not on pressure like Liverpool. That puts massive pressure on Liverpool. But also the result literally means that Arsenal can now go and dig in. We can dig in and get very, very good results. So for me, it's a big result, not just about beating Man City, but also for the title race when it comes to us as a team. So what I want to say about individual performances, I'm going to start with Lewis Skelly. I mean, we've talked about Partey. What a moment. I mean, when we lost did we lose to Haaland? I think it was 2-2. Was it 2-2? And Haaland said to Mikel Arteta, stay humble, yeah? He told Lewis Skelly, who the fuck are you? And I think if you're Lewis Skelly and you're young, that really damages your confidence. It really does, so big damage to your confidence. Luckily enough, it hasn't. And he has actually become a much better player since that day. He scored a beauty. Like, leave alone these star-pins wing backs always have, right? The ball ricochets in the penalty area, and then you kind of do this and that. He picked up the ball from Declan Rice, rolls it into the penalty area, cows it into the corner, gives the goalkeeper no chance, and there's so many Manchester City players there. Hell yeah, that is a winger's goal. That is a forward's goal. And of course, he was a midfielder, Lewis Skelly, before turning into a left wing back. But you love that. You really, really love that. And I'm still saying Ricardo Calafiori has got now to work a lot harder. A lot harder. If he's going to come back into this team, he's got to work a little bit harder to beat Lewis Skelly. Ethan Henry's goal, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. We know he's a gem. And we know that that is his trademark finish. Actually, him and Saka are so close to being very similar. I think the thing with Nwaneri is that you could play him in the number 10. And I think the speed at which he wants to operate, midfield might not be his, best position and destination. He's probably a player that would be better off playing a little bit wider, kind of a Bernardo Silva, or turning into a typical winger. But that was a brilliant goal. Arsenal beating Manchester City 5-1, and 2 of those goals have been scored by our teenagers. That was brilliant. That was really, really brilliant. And finally, I want us to talk about Martin Odegaard. Odegaard has been subject to conversation a lot because he had a massive drop-off, like a really massive drop-off this season. But I think he's coming back, he's catching up. Of course, that was one good performance. But if we can get him to perform like this in upcoming games, even much better. Manchester City, stay humble, yeah? For now, For now, as Arsenal, I don't think we will overcome Newcastle. It might be like we might beat them 2-1, or we might draw. But if we're out of the Carabao Cup and we're out of the FA Cup, Premier League and Champions League are ours to focus on. And we've got to focus. This result really, really means a lot. Hit that button, subscribe to the channel. We meet soon on deadline day.